Yes.
Is it not plugged in?
No, when I pulled the cord, I just connected it.
We'll call the regular board meeting for August 20th to order. All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like us all to recognize a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call.
Abbott.
Here.
Augenbach.
Here.
Beers.
Here.
Dietz. Gelfand.
Here.
Jackson. Here. Malika.
Here.
Whitaker.
Here.
Reesinger.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here. We're going to amend the agenda this evening and recognize our Little League players at the beginning of the meeting rather than make them sit through who knows what. Barry, do you want to announce or
Yes.
introduce the coaches and the
Yes.
team?
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me my great honor to introduce the president, Scott Frano, of Du Bois Little League, the coaches, and the players. If you gentlemen would please come forward. Perfect. Whoop, back. Screwed it up already. Before we go through the announcements, Mr. Frano has a few words he would like to speak.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if I need that, but first of all, thank you very much for the council and Sandy Township and City of Du Bois having us here today. Such an amazing event they put on for us this summer. Keep in mind of the 75 years, of the Du Bois Little League being here. There's only been 3 that went to the World Series, and we had the pleasure of seeing this summer. It was just it's amazing. And I said it during an interview that it's a tribute to these kids. I'm not surprised at all of what we got out of these kids, because here the parents sit here today and they were growing right. They're good kids. They're going to grow up and be good citizens of our town, and very proud of them. Thank you guys for having us here today.
The introductions. The introductions will become very shortly, but I'm sure most of you in this room either have read or heard from a gentleman by the name of Bob Beatram. He is the Maine Little League, M-A-I-N-E, the state broadcaster for the Eastern Regionals. And I would just like to read a couple excerpts of what he wrote about our team. And he says, Du Bois, you should be proud of these young men who are representing your community. This is my 30th season as a public address announcer at Bangor's Mansfield Stadium. We've had a lot of teams play. They've come from all parts of the country. This Du Bois team was one of the most polite and well-mannered groups of people I have ever met. The word thank you was said so many times by the players and coaches. They showed such gratitude for even the smallest things. These kids have been raised right and are truly a credit for your community. As a Christian, I was very impressed with how they remembered the Lord before each gathering and game to pray. The sportsmanship displayed by the players, coaches, and their supporters are nothing short of exemplary. Du Bois, you should be proud of your team. That was from the broadcast people from Maine. Awesome tribute to our team. I think one of the things as they progress through the tournament is our team, our coaches, that represented us, they were our ambassadors, and they were our stewards for our community. It was gratifying to hear what they did. And finally, whoever put together the website, the Fuels of Du Bois, I'd like to thank them because they kept us updated almost immediately. So without further ado, Mr. Frano, if you would lead everybody forward for their introductions. Obviously, Scott Frano, the president. Yes.
Manager Tim Kale. We got 4 players that's not going to be here tonight. Hunter Ho, Brody Canals, Wes Clyde, Evan Burton. They might show up.
Eric Burton, assistant coach.
Pat Dennison, assistant coach.
Isaac Dennison, and I played catcher.
Shake their hands, please.
Bryson Kill, first base and pitcher.
Easton Harris, outfield.
London Duncan, outfield.
Seth Wilmoth, second base.
Carter Ginevro, pitcher.
Jack Statler, second baseman.
Nathan Witherite, outfield.
Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Awesome job. Congratulations. Awesome. Scott, good job. Nice to shake your hand. Congratulations. Awesome job. Congratulations. Awesome job. Yep. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Wait, don't. You guys just want to line up right here facing the audience? That would be fine. We just changed up the protocol a little bit. Step right down through here. This is perfect. Don't be shy. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to read a joint proclamation commending the Du Bois Senior Little League. Whereas the Du Bois Senior Little League All-Stars achieved the distinguished honor of winning the Eastern Regional Championship and qualifying to compete in the 2025 Senior League World Series. Whereas the Senior Little League World Series, the pinnacle of youth baseball for players aged 13 to 16, gathered top teams from across the United States and the world. With the 2025 edition taking place from July 26th to August 2nd in Eastleigh, South Carolina. Whereas the Du Bois team, through unwavering dedication, exceptional teamwork, and outstanding sportsmanship, captured the hearts of their community and inspired young athletes everywhere. Whereas each member of the team, along with their coaches, volunteers, family, and supporters, upheld the values of character, integrity, perseverance, and fair play, all hallmarks of the Little League spirit. Whereas this accomplishment brings honor not only to the players, affirming the strength of the community support, the athletic development programs, but also incalculated civic pride. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Joint Consolidation Board of Sandy Township and the City of Du Bois extends its heartfelt congratulations to the Du Bois Senior Little League All-Stars on their outstanding East Regional Championship and qualifications for the Senior League World Series. This commends the athletes for their dedication, hard work, perseverance, and exemplary conduct both on and off the field. And further recognizes and thanks the league officials, coaches, volunteers, families, sponsors, and supporters whose collective efforts made this historic feat possible. In witness thereof, the undersigned have heretofore set forth their hands and caused the official seal of our respective governments to be affixed on this day, the 20th day of August, 2025. Mark Sullivan, Chairman, Sandy Township. Pat Riesinger, Mayor, the City of Du Bois. Ladies and gentlemen, our Eastern Regional champions. Okay, parents, your turn. Do you have anything you would like to add or offer? Stand up and speak or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, thank you to the community. It was amazing. A lot of us couldn't have probably done it without the help of the community, especially me. And I am so thankful and grateful for all the support that everybody has given us, all the love, the congratulations, the donations. I mean, it was such a huge thing. We had 2 really, really long trips, one to Maine, one to South Carolina, unexpected, and this was huge. I mean, I had no time to prepare a plan, but thanks to people like you, I was able to go, enjoy ourselves, my family was able to go, my 6-year-old learned to swim. It was just a great trip. So thanks to the community, it doesn't go unnoticed. I didn't get my thank yous out yet, but I have them. They're on my table. So thank you, everybody. That's it.
And the other parents, speaker for ever hold your peace. On behalf of us, the joint board, thank you. And thank you players and coaches for, as I said, being stewards and ambassadors for our community. One last round of applause for these young men and their coaches. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I'd like to make an announcement that prior to this meeting, the joint board met for an executive session to discuss legal matters. Next, we have public comments on our agenda items. Taking these in order. Dave Lombardo, would like to comment on the MOU for the fire service.
Yeah, Dave Lombardo out of Treasure Lake. I read through the fire company's responses to the memorandums of understanding, and I'm very supportive of these folks, both men and women. And hopefully the council takes and reads through all their comments, every single word, and just doesn't skim it. Some of the stuff that I picked up, they're asking for flexibility, and I know we're going through a new whole election process, November 4th, the election will be happening. So, you know, that the new board, consolidated board, plus this consolidation group, listens to them, works with them, and it looks like things might be moving forward. One of the things that I saw in one of them was, especially there were some issues on listing debts and liabilities for the fire department. I think that's pretty important. And anything you can do that the new city can do to properly fund and make sure they get their funding. And, you know, I can never say enough about these great men and women. And I think we need to listen to them. And I've made it vocal a couple times. I wasn't real happy how that report came through, especially at that meeting we had. You couldn't comment, you couldn't say anything. I hope we learn from that, and in the future, let our fire folks get out there and kind of move this forward, which I think they're doing right now. So that's all I wanted to bring up. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb Mecklin.
Good evening. Under correspondence, there's listed the City of Du Bois strategic plan, and it's for the years 2026 through 2030. From what I understand, the purpose of this initiative is to have a comprehensive and actionable plan for the city moving forward. Although this is commendable and a good goal for down the road, what is the plan now? As we have seen on WTAJ News today, C&S Logistics, the old Riverside warehouse, will be ending their contract with Ruan Trucking. The truck drivers affiliated with this company have received letters indicating their contract will be terminated at the end of 2025 or the first quarter of 2026. I am told this will impact around 100 employees. This will have a most extreme detrimental effect on our area. These are family-sustaining jobs. As we presently are in talks with, presently in talks with management of C&S Logistics at this time? Because we need to find a solution to keep this company here. We as a community need to be proactive in keeping this business open. The decline going in our community is alarming. Thank you.
Pam, August? Oh, I'm sorry. Kristen Vita. No? Okay, thank you. Next. Okay, I saw the question mark there. I didn't. Okay. Linda?
Good evening. My name is Linda London, and I live at 527 Rumbarger Avenue. It's very appropriate. I did not know those ball players were coming tonight, but what I want to bring up deals directly with those boys. I'm going to start off by quoting some familiar phrases to many in our community. I trust in God, I love my country, and will respect its laws. I have heard these words recited for several years, whether at a baseball game for my brother, my son, my grandsons, or just to support ball players in our area. This past summer, Stern Field here in DuBois was the host for different tournament and playoff games for our region or state. When the spectators were asked to rise and for gentlemen to remove their hats for the playing of the national anthem, I witnessed many folks looking around to find our country's red, white, and blue waving in the wind. However, it was not to be found at that field. It may be displayed at times on an electronic board on the third base side, but sitting behind home plate or along third base makes viewing that display impossible. The American flag is displayed and clearly visible at both Heindel Field and the Little League fields, but not at Stern Field. I do believe that field, like the others, is a city-owned ball field. And if the city does have ownership, I come to you tonight asking that you look into this matter and consider reaching out perhaps to our DuBois Little League and together come up with a plan for purchasing and installing an American flag. Perhaps the placement could be just outside the outfield fence, where it would be visible for all players and spectators to proudly pay our respect. Thank you.
Moving into our consent agenda, I'll be looking for a motion to approve minutes of July 16th. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes of August 11 council work session. Need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda, which would cover all the way down to 2026, 2030 City of DuBois Strategic Plan.
I have a few questions on the city bills.
Okay, let's get through the minutes then. I need a motion to approve previous minutes. We've already done the July 16th meeting. How about the August 11th work session? Properly moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Fiscal reports. I was going to lump all these together, but Jen, if you have questions.
Yes, I'd like some clarification on the Superion bill. What that is paying. I just would like some clarification on that.
What page is that on, Jen?
I don't have it in front of me.
I can speak to that.
Thank you.
The Superion bill is for the summer help. They did all of our summer hiring, all the drug testing, all the background checks, all of the taxes, all of the onboarding. They did every aspect of our summer hires. So that bill is to pay for our summer employees.
Have you done that in the past?
I don't know if we have. No, we have not.
This is the first year.
Okay. And so was there a rate difference? That I have heard that there was somebody from the city, their son works who did summer help, and it was questioning why his son wasn't making the full amount when it was $15, not $20.
The difference in the rate is because that is for all the taxes, all the insurances, all the workers' comp, because we didn't have workers' comp on these employees. It was all through Superion. All the liability is through Superion, so that $5 difference covers all of those items.
Okay.
The drug testing, the onboarding, the background checks, all the things that we require,
Okay.
that covers that.
All right. And then Pat, I'm going to ask you because I've been asked multiple times, and I know there's a lot of disinformation, of course, on you going to the state mayors. Can you please clarify that so it's public record?
Yeah, I received a letter from them asking me to go to the conference. I showed the letter to Lisa and Ben and said, is this worth it? They said yes, and I said, okay, I'll go. I took 3 days out of my schedule to go down to there, and I'll tell you, it was very helpful, and we're working on a few things right now that I learned from there.
Okay.
Okay, it was not 750 total, something like that.
Okay. I'm just going to say why I'm asking, because we have a controller now, who I see is not here, that is questioning these items. And I don't understand when he signed a check for almost $300,000 for the former manager and never questioned it. And now he gives grief over Pat wanting to go to a meeting to better the community, where we've never had that before. Anyone from council, mayor, manager go to a meeting, and now we have somebody questioning this council that really has tried to just do right by the citizens. I'm extremely frustrated by it, and I just wanted the citizens of the community to know this.
Yeah, he actually refused to sign the check.
Correct.
He scrutinizes that, but like you said, he didn't scrutinize the $270,000 check for Herm's legal fees. He didn't scrutinize any of the hundreds of thousands of bonuses that were paid out. And he didn't scrutinize Bernardo going to a conference at the end of her term, like in September, and she never even spoke about it. He signed all those, but he wouldn't sign this.
And it's
Sounds political.
That worked for the city that was questioning the pay. So and he couldn't understand why he was making 15. This is the stuff that has to stop. It's ongoing, it's lies, and I'm tired of the misinformation. I just wanted to clarify what was going on. So thank you for the time, thank you for the answers.
Okay, now I'm looking for a motion to approve the fiscal report, department reports, and correspondence.
So moved, Mark.
Second.
Properly moved by Bill, second by Pat. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Could I ask a couple of quick things at this point regarding that correspondence? So your motion was, of course, to just acknowledge and file the correspondence that was in there, but I wanted to take an opportunity to speak briefly to a couple of the items. The first is to let you know that we're engaging with industrial appraisal in order to do an asset appraisal of all the equipment and property that the city and the township own. I believe most of the fire department stuff that's relevant is also included in that. The reason for this is kind of threefold. Number one, the consolidation agreement says that we have to do it. Number two is that we need the appraisal in order to input the assets into the new city's financial system. And then the third is we need that information in order to get the insurance bid out there and then get good insurance. So that's an FYI that we're entering into that. The MOU related to the fire department, there'll be more to come once we have finalized a strategy between the fire subcommittee and the task force. Tentatively, I think I can speak for the task force when I say that we reviewed them and everything seems reasonable. The Halloween parade, briefly, I looked into the ordinance and found that the police chief has the authority to sign off on stuff like that that's short-term, so I presume you will do that whenever it comes in. The invitation to community days, that's a copy. Supervisor Abbott is sending a letter, a second letter to the White House inviting the president to come to have a celebration for both the semi-sesquicentennial of the country as well as the consolidation, and he copied you all on that. Housing study, we could probably have just a brief discussion of that. One of the things that came out of the mayor's conference was kind of a desire to do a bit of a housing study, pull all the threads together from the various grant programs that we've heard of and such. And the best firm that we could find a price for to do a quick housing study and kind of give you a strategy on what to do with housing is the proposal that's in the packet. If there's no objection, I think it's within the threshold of the manager to sign off on it. We do believe that it's a very good price. I believe it was $4,500 for some excellent work. We've worked with Adam Hartwig would be the consultant brought in on this. We've worked with him before and been very pleased with his work product. He did a similar component to Jefferson County's strategic management plan that was done a few years ago, so we know his work quality is good. So is there any objection to moving forward with that? Okay. The next thing is basically free. Amy Kessler, who works for North Central Planning Commission, and Brad Lashinsky from the Penn State Launchbox have agreed to help us through creating a long-term, I guess, we'll say it's a midterm strategic action plan for the new city. That process generally takes 6 months. You could almost think of this as a light comprehensive plan for those of you that are familiar with comprehensive plans. Those are supposed to be updated on a 10-year basis. This would be a little bit shorter, but still kind of have the community input and flavor that you might find in a comprehensive plan. So Lisa and I met with Brad probably a month or so ago to go over the scope of work, and this is what we came up with. I don't think it would probably actually take effect or anything until the new year, and of course it's non-binding and all that, but we think that Brad and Amy together with the housing study and our input could really come up with a fantastic strategic plan for this community. So that shouldn't cost anything, I think, beyond, reasonable kind of clerical expenses. So I raise it mostly because this board has been asking, where's our strategic plan? We did the community and economic development ecosystem map and kind of identified these gaps. Now what are you going to do about it, right? And so this is our answer for that. So with that, any questions about the correspondence we put on the agenda? All right, thanks.
Next, we have special presentations, consolidation update from McNeese Wallace.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ade Bakri. I'm an attorney at McNeese Wallace and Nurek, based out of Harrisburg. I have had the privilege of working with the joint board and its managers, the Capital Strategies Company, on the consolidation efforts. As I'm sure everybody is aware, the city and Sandy Township entered into the consolidation agreement on November 7, 2022. The efforts to close on the consolidation have been ongoing since that date. My law firm was brought in to help the city with some discrete matters related to the consolidation in the fall of 2024. And earlier this year, Ben and Lisa asked us to step in and help with some more broader issues related to the consolidation. So we've been working in conjunction with the managers over the course of the past approximately 8 months on a variety of issues related to the consolidation, including labor and employment issues, some of the regulatory utility issues, permit transfer issues with DEP, as well as some transactional matters that are necessary to complete the process. Overall, I think our team is moving ahead. The January 6th date remains the target. There have been several recent milestones that we have accomplished that have put us closer to accomplishing that target. Just a few. Ben and Lisa will go through a broader status update, but a couple of highlights from the legal perspective. We did receive the PUC authority for the Du Bois City water system to be transferred to the new city. That's a major milestone. For anybody who has dealt with Public Utility Commission issues in the past, it's a very large agency. They require a lot of documentation before they'll grant approval for any process they require, and they did have to approve the transfer of the water system to the new city because the current Du Bois City water system is PUC regulated, and so they had jurisdiction over the operation of that system. They have agreed to relinquish that jurisdiction and allow the new city to operate the water system without PUC jurisdiction. So that was a major milestone as part of the consolidation effort, and we're pleased that the city acknowledged the value of the consolidation and granted the authority for that, for the water system rights to be transferred from the city of Du Bois to the new city in January 2026. There's also a process underway to obtain environmental approvals for the sewer system. There's what's called an Act 537 special study. It has to be approved by all of the affected municipalities. That process is ongoing. We're receiving approvals from the surrounding municipalities. We expect to complete that process in the fall. On the transactional side, I think Ben mentioned that the city's undertaking an asset inventory report. Once that report is completed, my team will prepare what's called an assignment and assumption agreement. That document will transfer all the assets that are currently owned by Sandy Township and the current city of Du Bois to the new city of Du Bois. So that's the operative document to actually effectuate the transfer of the assets to the new city. That's also being prepared and will be ready to be signed by the authorities of the joint board before we close on the system transfer and the asset transfer in January. So all things considered, the process is moving along. Lisa will talk more about the union negotiations, but we're also working on those matters. So overall, it's been a very rewarding experience. You have a good team with Capital Strategies, and looking forward to completing this process in January and making this the first major consolidation completed in the Commonwealth in several decades. So thank you for taking time to hear me out this evening. I'm very happy to be able to present this update to the citizens here today. Thank you.
everyone. Any questions for today?
Next, we will move on to manager updates. Lisa, is that you?
I'm going to start.
Thank you.
So we have 138 days to consolidation. So we wanted you to hear a day. Ben's going to give you a little look into our project management software to go a deeper dive into where we're at on certain items. I'm just going to tell you a couple things. First of all, I want to tell you that our staff is doing an amazing job in the day-to-day operations so that we can focus on consolidation items. And so I'm really grateful to every single one of them for the work that they're doing to help us just manage the municipalities in the everyday. And you know that's a lot. I also wanted to touch on the Mayor's Association and Pat going to that. We always advocate for the elected officials to go to these conferences and trainings because they bring back invaluable information that we may not know about unless people attend. And all the legislative updates and the networking that happens in those rooms is really important to a community. And as you all move forward, you want to continue to advocate for your elected officials to do those things. And so he has brought back some best practices. He's working on some initiatives that he's brought back. Plus he got to meet Brandy Shrimp from Kane Borough, and Kane's doing some really cool stuff. So he got to hear how they're doing that, and those things are really critical to a community. I wanted to give you an update on right to knows. We currently, as of today, have 188 right to knows. 72% of those are from one family. 20% of that is 20% of my time is spent on right to knows, and 40% of some admin assistant time is spent on right to knows. And we are probably utilizing about 30% of an attorney to help us with those items. The other 18% of right to knows are coming from the media, land use questions, and police requests. I just wanted to give you an update. There are 26 outstanding as of today, and 6 of those are past due because I am late on them, and I'm gonna own that. And then I wanted to talk to you. We've had a couple right to knows and questions from the community about grants. So I just wanted to give you the long version of all the grants we're working on. We are working with DCED to help collaborate with the CDBG allocations because right now the city receives $306,000 and Sandy receives $177,000. And what we know is that when we consolidate, we will not receive those two put together. And we would like to. So we are assisting Joe Mitchell is helping us with the grants, and so through the RDA, they're assisting the hospital with the ARC, which is a pass-through grant. There is an application out for small water and sewer grant for security updates at the new treatment plant, and we have not received an award yet, but we did have a request for clarity, which is always a good sign. We have a Greenways grant out for ADA resurfacing of the playground in the city park, no award yet. Federal appropriations through GT Thompson's office, we were not selected for that consideration, but we did apply. We are working with DCNR on the Circuit Rider program to study recreational facilities in both Du Bois and Sandy and to help with the recommendation list, and then grant funding will follow once we have that recommendation. And so that grant for the Circuit Rider will be submitted in the next couple weeks. We are working on engineering services for multimodal application. Oh wait, that's been completed. The DCED multimodal through Sandy Township for a connector trail, that's being worked on. Safe Streets and Roads grant review with North Central. They are looking at future funding opportunities. They're working on electric vehicle charging stations. The CDBG audit for 2019 just got finished up and we had no findings. There's some fire department grants that are being reviewed and submitted if they are open, which is the Mengel Foundation, a training for officers, and I thought there was another one on here. If I come across it, I'll tell you that too. We're working with the county tourism because there is some grant opportunities with them. ARC funding for Kiwanis Trail, no timetable on award. We are doing a needs assessment with Public Works for future grant opportunities. There is, the police department are always looking for funding, so there's multiple places that are being looked for funding and grant applications that are either in the works or submitted. If you run across those, send them our way because we want every one of them. There are multiple RAC fees related to current projects and future projects that are in the pipeline. There's multiple economic development opportunities with perspective as well. And so I wanted to address the fact that there are some questions in the community about whether we're pursuing grants or not, and the answer is a resounding yes. We are always looking for grant opportunities, and our projects, when they rise up, we're going to search everywhere for a grant. We're looking at grants for the Anderson Creek Dam project, the Juniata Lake. So I just wanted you to know that that is a very active position that we take.
Okay, and I'll pick up just to briefly review the many tasks that are integrally working to make consolidation happen. You've heard the idiom about if a tree falls in a forest, like did it actually make a noise? The answer, of course, is yes, even though you didn't hear it. A lot of people in the community think that because they don't hear anything about what's going on with consolidation, that there's nothing happening, and that is definitely not the case. We are working quite tirelessly on many, many tasks related to this consolidation. And so we're just giving a quick update. This is a pretty close to exhaustive list of the things that we're working on a regular basis, starting all the way back with the original feasibility study. But here's a quick update on all the financial related things that we're doing. So first of all, Lisa and Terry are working in part with PEL, Pennsylvania Economy League, and internally to create a new consolidated chart of accounts and a consolidated budget. They've met with many, if not all, of the departments to determine an estimate on what kind of spending they need in the coming year. We're also looking to combine, of course, the library and recreational taxes of the two communities, but then appropriately split them since the cities is not done exactly correctly. They already mentioned the municipal authority bond that will, I think, did you mention that? Yeah. Okay. So briefly at the last meeting, I remember mentioning that we will be, probably the township will need to put out a bid for a new bond to reissue the current liabilities of the municipal authority and get it into the new city's name ultimately. We are working to consolidate the fee schedules. There's instances where the township or the city charges a different rate. And so we're working to, first of all, compare those to other communities and make sure that they're not radically out of line, and then come up with a recommendation on what the new fee schedule should be. Lisa's working to pool cash so that we can maximize interest. I mentioned that we're doing that asset inventory. We're drafting a cost allocation plan so that like the water and the sewer enterprises can appropriately reimburse the general fund. We're working on, of course, the tax structure that will come after the budget's done, and working on a long-term capital improvement plan, and of course working on consolidating the pension plans if possible. On the HR front, we're working to implement a new consolidated compensation model so that it's internally coherent and we can kind of justify why we pay people what we pay them. That's a rather lengthy project, and then once that's done, that will first of all enable us to be in a good position for collective bargaining agreements, as well as then setting the non-union wages. We're working on hiring key positions that have been already identified in the a consolidation agreement. We've already filled several of them, but there are still several others, and of course, most notably, the Director of Finance and Administration and the City Manager, which will be later in the year. I've got here as a question mark. We don't know what's going to happen with the election. It's possible that the new board will need to appoint a treasurer and a controller if something doesn't happen in the election. So that's on there as kind of a question mark. We're reviewing job descriptions, finalizing SOPs related to those job descriptions, constantly reviewing the organizational chart, working on, when we get the new EIN, we'll need to register as a new entity with Department of State, Revenue, Labor, et cetera, as well as implement a new timekeeping policy system. We're preparing to put out an RFP for the new city solicitor, the new city engineer, an actuary, potentially even we might recommend hiring a government affairs specialist, and we put out a big RFP for banking the other day, or a couple weeks ago, and we're already getting good feedback back. So hopefully at the September meeting, we're hoping to make a selection on who the next banking institution will be, so that we can start setting up the accounts, building out the accounting system, and getting ready to transfer all the funds in the new year. On the emergency services front, we're working closely with the fire departments as they consolidate, as well as the police departments, which that's really they've already made a lot of progress on that, but there's still things we need to track, like authorizing the state systems, swearing people in the new year, that kind of thing. There's a mess of contracts that need to be renegotiated, dozens of them. They are not all listed here because there are so many. In fact, it's a task unto itself to just identify all the inventory of contracts that need to be renegotiated because, as you know, the township and the current city are going away, so all the current city and or township agreements need to be consolidated and reissued. Codes, that is a huge project. The city and the township codes don't jive very well in certain ways, and as a consequence, there's a committee that's working on consolidating them alongside us, the planning and the code department, general code, and HRG doing mapping. So they're well on their way. They're doing an amazing job, but it's an uphill battle. Then there's all the authorities that either need to be determined if they're sticking around or being reauthorized. There needs to be the transfer of all those titles, deeds, et cetera, as already mentioned. At this point, I think it was probably announced at the last meeting that we're not really strongly looking at selling the Coke Hill property. However, the Riesinger house that's kind of kitty corner to the township building is still something that we would like to appraise quickly and look at potentially selling. Not to mention excess vehicles, getting rid of a lot of paper documents, and that in itself is a major project because there's a lot of documents according to Record Retention Act that can be destroyed, but some could be scanned and then destroyed. Some have to be kept in perpetuity. No one seems to really know exactly how many boxes, how much space, etc. So we're bringing in an expert to figure that out. There's a lot of grants. I won't belabor the grants because you just heard about all of them, but specifically related to the consolidation, there is the 2 RACPs that pertain to emergency services building and the new city building, along with the stamp grant, which is largely paying for Capron Strategies and McNeese Wallace, as well as HRG and General Code. There's a lot of technology things that need to happen, such as the consolidation of the website, implementation of a scanning solution, door controllers, email consolidations, forms, email journaling, et cetera, et cetera. I can see eyes glazing over. I get it. I'll try to make it faster. We need to, design a new logo, and so forth. And then there's a mess of policies and procedures that could be written. So I hope that didn't bore you too much. But again, I want you to know that there are a lot of things that we are working on, even if you don't see it on a day-to-day basis. It's kind of boring to give these updates, and there's no point in giving that kind of granularity, even to the board probably, because they're really administrative things. But we are really working hard on it. We're proud of our staff, both at Capron Strategies, McNeese Wallace, and the city and the township currently, for all the amazing work that they're doing. But that 138 days is coming fast, and so we I know there are a lot of times where people in the community are saying, why aren't you doing something about whatever, like a closure, or why aren't you doing more about Penn State's closure, or why are you behind on 6 right-to-knows, et cetera? It's because the most important thing that we can do right now is not screw up the consolidation, and that means these are the top priority things that we're working on. All right, sorry for taking all that time. Any questions for me or Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Please send me a softball.
Pardon me?
A softball, please.
Yes. So Lisa, you briefly touched on the right-to-knows, which you're going to probably get a right to know on who it is filing them all, because you didn't say the last name. Which, I don't even understand this. I really don't. In this community, I've been quiet for quite a while, but to have 188 right-to-knows is ridiculous. It's a waste of taxpayer money, more taxpayer money, and time, where they just said we have 138 days. I'm disappointed, and I'm disappointed that people still support them. Because here we are, and they don't support Ben and Lisa either. That's one of the right-to-knows, and that really just gets my goat. These people, do you realize how much they're doing? And can you realize where we would be if the former manager, mayor, all of his job titles were in here? Can you really imagine where we would be? It is time to give them some praise, and enough is enough. With the right-to-knows, and even the people on this board that still support them, it is ridiculous. When our taxpayer dollars have paid for an employee's wedding, I don't understand how somebody can still support that. I really don't. But the right-to-knows have got to stop. You are wasting taxpayer time and money, which this city is already short on. Enough on that one. Was that a softball enough?
Doesn't have anything to do with me.
I didn't hear a question there, but anyway, I got a softball. How's construction coming on both of our renovations?
Yeah, well, City Hall is coming along. Remember when we had the issue with the electric, the way it was, and it was a little bit of a setback. So, odds are we're probably not going to have the full access to the building. And when I say full access, that means getting everything out of the parking lot so you guys have somewhere to park. Probably not till sometime in November. When, just being realistic about it, maybe it'll be sooner, but I wouldn't look for being in there any time that much sooner. On the other hand, the bigger project, the sewage plant's coming along. They finally completed everything building-wise, so electricians and plumbers can go to town. Electricians have, without seeing it, you don't understand how much work they have ahead of them that they have to get done. And obviously, the limelight's on them now because they got the biggest part of the project at this point. So it's moving along. We're still hoping to be flowing process here before the end of the year. We're looking to do startup starting probably the 3rd or 4th week in September on the equipment. And that'll probably take about 2 months to get through all that, because once we turn that one on, the other one gets shut off and there's no going back if there's a problem. So everything's moving along. Can't complain about the rain holding anything up. So
How about the Sandy building? Is it complete?
Sandy building's pretty well wrapped up on, all the construction. They're out of there. We're free and clear there. There's some issues we'll do with the parking lot when the building's not so busy in this fall, maybe with our paver and stuff around the edges of the building and getting the water away from it. But right now, as far as contractors being in that building, only in case there's an HVAC incident or a plumbing issue.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I got one question. Lisa knows what it is, the tax structure. Where are we at? ETA?
We're still working on it.
Do you think you're gonna have one beginning of September? So we can have like a special meeting so we can go over it? Okay.
Any other questions for the managers? Okay, at this point, I'll turn the mic over to Pat for city business because we...
There's a slight change to
Oh. Home and Conservation Ship, Lisa, is she here?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Kovalik with the Redevelopment Authority of Clearfield County. A few months ago, you all signed a ordinance instructing the Redevelopment Authority of Clearfield County to help address your city and Sandy Township with blight. And I just wanted to give you a quick update on what's happening with that. I know you had a study on blight on Park Avenue and Jard Street, and there are some properties there that are owned by individuals that we're starting the first conservatorship project in Clearfield County on. We've entered into an agreement with an attorney out of Butler, Andrew Menchak, and Andrew is starting that process. It will be a little bit drug out for the first one because, of course, our judges aren't familiar with the Conservatorship Act at all. Once that's done, then we'll be able to move on to other projects. The Conservatorship Act is something that's a little bit simpler than going in and taking a property by eminent domain or taking it at a tax sale. What we're doing there is we'll take conservatorship with no liability. The city has no liability, the redevelopment authority has no liability. We clean the property up. If the owner doesn't pay back the funding to the redevelopment authority, then the redevelopment authority can appeal for ownership of that property. And then what we do typically is we resell the property so that it's back on the tax rolls. If the property is something that we can rehab and put back on into play for ownership or for rental property, we'll do that so that you can keep your tax base. That was the first thing that I wanted to update you on the blight and where we stand. The other thing I want, and I probably need your help with, is we applied on your behalf for $500,000 in the home grant. The home grant is a owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program for individuals that live and own their property and they're 80% of the median income. And that's not a bad income to get the help. We had a list, we went through that list in our office, and we have 2 applications, one in the city and one in Sandy, to start doing the housing rehab. We're looking at that program as a blight prevention program. We're addressing seniors. The second highest reason in Clearfield County for blight is seniors that aren't able to undertake what needs to be done in their home, so the home falls down around them. They pass on, the kids get the home, and nothing's done, and the next thing you know, we're tearing it down. We feel that it's much better to be able to go in and rehab those homes. We're putting $100,000 to $150,000 into them, roofs, heating systems, whole electric systems. Everything we do is to bring that home up to codes and make it a viable home, that it stays on the market. One of the issues that we're having with consumers in the area is they don't want a lien placed on their home. There's going to be a lien placed on the home. This is a grant that they're getting for $100,000, $150,000, and we do not want them flipping that house to make the money off of it, and neither does the Department of Community and Economic Development. It's just undue gain on their part. So the lien is placed for 5 years. It's forgiven each month that passes by, and if they make the 5 years, which most everybody does, it's free and clear. There's nothing owed. That's one of the main concerns. But what we really need is people to understand the home ownership rehab program is here to help them. If we're successful with it, we'll keep going after the money and doing more. It's no secret. Pennsylvania has having a housing study. Ben just talked about your own housing study that you're doing, and one thing I would caution you on, the state's housing study is expected to come out September 15th, so I certainly would hope that whoever's doing that study incorporates those findings. The state of Pennsylvania is over 230,000 housing units in loss of. We need that many to make up in the next 10 years, and I don't know how we're going to do it, but it needs to be done. Clearfield County, Du Bois, Sandy is no different than that. We need housing, and we need it now. And what housing we do have, we need to make sure that it's viable, livable, healthy, and safe. So that's where I stand with the housing revitalization and the housing blight study and what we're doing at the Redevelopment Authority for Clearfield County. Are there any questions?
How do people
Yes.
become aware of the?
So if they just call our office, we have an office down in Clearfield at 212 East Locust Street, and our telephone number is 814-765-5149, extension 3024, and we'll put them on the waiting list.
Yeah, and you can
contact the city or the
Yeah.
township too, and we'll
sure.
transfer.
Are those two projects going to exhaust the 500,000?
No, the 2 projects will not. We probably have room for 2 more.
What's the time frame? So what's the year, what's the?
So
fiscal year
if
for
we
that
get, if we
500?
get somebody's name and we do the intake on it, they're eligible, then we'll go ahead with the environmental review. I would say probably 6 to 7 months. The other thing is contractors. We need contractors, so if anybody knows any good contractors that want to be involved, we certainly would entertain their help too.
And what would you say the deadline would be to apply for this year's round?
I'm sorry?
What's the deadline like to apply for this?
Oh,
year's round?
we just have an ongoing, we keep a,
It just
LA,
goes
we
till
keep a waiting list, yeah.
Exhaust the 500?
Yep.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
I
And
was
it-
going to ask you how many houses. So we
Yeah.
really need 2 people, 2 houses to fulfill.
Yeah, we need 2 more houses
2 more
at
houses.
least. Yeah, yeah.
it's-
And then,
it's a
you
great
know,
program.
the appropriations bill, the big beautiful bill zeroed out the home funds and the CDBG funds, but there's appropriations out there that are bringing that funding back. We'll wait and see how it all hashes out in the end with the appropriations bill. But also, the Secretary of Banking has a plethora of bills right now that are looking really, really good for housing, looking really good for, blight remediation. So we're watching that very close. And of course, if that comes out, Sandy Township, City of DuBois, the city in general, and all of Clearfield County, all be on the watch to make sure we get our fair share here.
Lisa, thanks.
You're welcome.
Very
You're welcome.
helpful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing all the paperwork.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
I have one more thing I wanted to add. Last thing, thanks, Bill, for the reminder on really the next meeting, which is the 8th of September is the date that we are planning on doing a little presentation. We're going to give you a handout. I hope to run out to the car and grab them before you leave. It's a handout that we created when we spoke at a statewide conference last week on priority-based budgeting. So this is a workbook that's to prepare the elected officials for the conversation that we're going to have, which really has to do with prioritization of your expenditures. And so we'll be giving you this handout between now and the 8th. We would ask that you read it and maybe prepare some thoughts. We'll be giving it to the department heads as well, as we're all going to be thinking about the fact that we have a limited amount of resources that need to go to a plethora of needs. So we'll be walking through that process as part of the budgeting process. But I wanted to prepare you for it, and then we'd be doing the presentation on priority-based budgeting, and then shift right into the presentation of where we're at on the 2026 budget. All right, with that, I think we're done with special presentations. Thanks.
That is correct. We have no unfinished business or new business for the joint board. Next, we have new business for the city.
I'll take that over. This is just a consent agenda, right? Yeah. So we're going to take this as one consent agenda. It's a CDBG application for the year 25-26, which we do every year. The resolution 2025-0420, that's the fair housing statement. Resolution 25-0421, that's the statement of goals. That's another required resolution. Resolution 2025-0422 is submission authorization. Same thing. I'd like to see an agenda, a consent agenda for those 3 items. Motion to approve that from the city.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any questions on the motions? Vote on the motion.
Augenbaugh.
Yes.
Dietz.
He's not here.
Yes.
Jackson. Yes. Reesinger.
Yes. Proposed skill game code revisions. Zach?
So we did review these in Planning Commission yesterday. They did come back with a couple questions, remarks on these. Very limited. They did like them. Once we got the point across to what we were doing with it, this is going to really limit where these facilities can open up on their own independently, other than being an accessory to another type of club, bar, or something like that. They would like to add a statement to the Council Bill 1994 that the applicant must be in good standing with the city prior to issuance, any license being issued. How that needs to be worded, but that would include if they owe back taxes on something, or if they, outstanding water, sewer, trash bills on another property.
Fines.
Yeah, anything like that we could deny their permit, or their license for that year for that, or until they get everything caught up. And then they're still asking for different types of permits. They called them like a Class 1 permit and a Class 2 permit. One would be for say, a nonprofit organization versus a for-profit business. And I know that needs to have the legal review done to it, but they did bring that up and ask for a written legal opinion on that one. And then on Council Bill 1995, they asked to add definition for mechanical device license and the requirements to obtain, where that was added in to the zoning ordinance for just some clarity that even though it's an accessory use, that they're still required to apply for and obtain licensing every year.
Hi, Jessica Tully. I'm the solicitor associate. If you could, first of all, provide that information to me, I think that I'll need to review this with Tom Brett, but just speaking generally, we did look into it, and nonprofits versus for-profit businesses do have to be treated the same. And certainly, I'll review anything that you do send over to me, but we have already looked into that.
Okay.
But please send all of your commentary. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So I think the decision point, Attorney Tully, tonight will be, tentatively, it sounds like the first recommendation on 1994 was probably acceptable. So would it be possible for the council to go forward with advertising the proposed revisions to Chapter 118 along with, in the spirit of you making the recommendations,
yes,
the changes in the spirit of what's been voiced?
Yes.
And then probably not move forward with a different class, because again, tentatively, we don't believe that's even legal. So I think the decision before the council tonight would be, do you want to move forward with authorization to advertise the council bills with the revisions at the discretion of the solicitor?
And that'll still need to be reviewed.
Yeah. Yeah, or not move forward at all and just kind of kick this to the next city.
I want to, as the sponsor of the ordinance, I would like to move forward as soon as possible to stop the further proliferation of these facilities within the downtown especially.
Is that a motion?
I would like to make a motion. We advertise the code revisions with added language from the solicitor.
Second.
Properly moved in seconds. Any questions on the motion? Vote on the motion.
Augenbaum.
Yes.
Gelfen.
Yes.
Jackson. Yes. Reesinger.
Yes.
Yeah, that's to be clear with your motion, 1994 and 1995.
Do we need further? I think we think that's it. Yes, both.
The second understood that?
Yes. Yes.
Because we are just
And I
advertising.
understood it when I voted.
We are just advertising.
Yeah.
Yes. New business time, that's it for the city.
A mirror to what DuBois City just did, Sandy Township needs to do the same for our CDBG application. Resolution 2025-08, Statement of Goals, Resolution 2025-09, which I'm assuming was fair housing. Resolution 2025-10, Submission Authorization. If I could have a motion for those three.
So move, Mark.
Motion by Bill, second by,
Second.
is that Sam?
Barrett.
Barrett? Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sandy Township 2026 MMO.
Terry, you speak to the MMO?
Yeah, the paperwork submitted to Thomas Anderson, they sent back to start 2026, and we're on April.
How much is that up from
There's
last
no
year?
motion there.
I think it's fairly close.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I think we're.
It's been staying pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's in the low 80s, which has been on this one.
Yes, you need a motion to approve the expenditure.
So move.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Zach, you want to take the rest of these?
Sure. The request to advertise for subdivision at 3015 Bay Road, Treasure Lake, I need to hold a public hearing. And I looked at right before the next joint board meeting here at 5:45. If that's okay, I would like permission to advertise that, to get that out.
Motion to approve?
So move.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next one is a small subdivision on Rockton Road. Planning Commission reviewed it and approved it pending a letter from our SEO on the on-lot sewage system, which I got a request in for that. I would like you guys approval with the same condition that we have that letter from our SEO prior to getting all the signatures and everything, but everything else met the conditions, and that's good.
We have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second. Properly moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, 182 Develop Pack Road minor land development. This is the fountains at Du Bois. They're looking at a 4,500 square foot addition to the building, which is 10-room addition already, doing some site work in that. It met all of our requirements, and they addressed everything from our engineering review, and just looking for approval, and we will get that going for there.
Can I ask a question? I know this is probably completely out of line, but can we require them to have a sewer grinder before it goes into our sewer system? Because right now, even with their own system, it's failed several times. They've had a lot of problems. Obviously, there's a lot of the heavier duty bites and stuff like that going down. All that's going to do is end up in our new pump station and cause us problems. If it's possible to require them to have a grinder when it leaves their building, like they should have now, I mean, just save us a lot of aggravation and expense in the future.
I think we can put that a condition on the approval.
Conditional, yeah.
Yeah. This is,
That a motion as a conditional use, they need to install a grinder when they make the addition.
Second. Do we know if that was overlooked in the initial review?
I'm not here to judge anybody else, but what they have is definitely undersized and not designed very well.
So you should really approve what they put in.
Well, I don't want to get crazy.
Okay.
It'd be nice to see it, though.
No, but somebody needs to review the
I definitely
the
would
specs.
review it.
Okay.
Somebody needs to look at it the right size.
Yes.
Okay. Not you.
No, I can do that.
Okay.
So, Bill, your motion was to make sure we,
Move forward, but make sure there's a grinder pump installed before they make the addition.
okay.
Put it- get it
And that's to cover the entire facility?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
A grinder system.
Yeah, they're going to reroute the sanitary to go to the gravity system.
To the new system?
Yes,
Okay.
We want to make sure they put in the right grinder.
yes.
Yes.
It's sized properly.
Sam, you were the second to that?
Approved by you.
Sam was the second.
Just certify whatever work we've done to the appropriate. If you just say grinder, strong side grinder, I think you would want the engineer to make sure that the appropriate
6-inch muffin monster. I'm serious.
That's what they're called. Unfortunately.
I like it, but anyhow.
6-inch muffin monster.
Properly moved and second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I think Midway Drive is the last one.
Yeah, Allison Associates submitted a minor land development for Midway Drive. They did have to receive a variance from the zoning hearing board before it got this far because the lot is very small. So the zoning hearing board granted a variance for the setback requirements and the size of the lot. They did find that information out. And it is actually smaller than any requirements for stormwater under the ordinance, so it passed. Everything's in order, and just need your blessing on that to move forward.
Where is that on Midway?
I want to say it's 148, but it's right by Harbor Freight.
Give their side here.
Okay. Is that where the site was just cleared?
Yes.
Okay.
Going toward Walmart. I make a motion, we approve the land development. Second. Yes.
Any additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move into closings. We'll start with public comment.
Let's just get it taken care of.
Shirley, you're up first.
Good evening, Shirley DeRouge, Executive Director, Downtown DuBois. I'm here to open up a conversation with the Joint Board, our Police Department. After ongoing conversations with some of our downtown business owners and their patrons, we would like to request that the city consider designating the first parking spaces on both sides of West Long Avenue closest to Brady Street, designated as a 15-minute parking zone. We're just looking at the first parking space on each side. This adjustment would greatly benefit customers who are stopping downtown to quickly pick up food, retail purchases, other orders. Currently, these prime spaces are often occupied for extended periods, sometimes by other business owners, and that is something I have spoken to them about, as well as the business owners that it's directly affecting, with no result. So this creates a challenge for those corner businesses that rely heavily on quick turnover parking for their patrons. In the past, the downtown had 2-hour parking limits, and prior to that, metered parking. Since both systems were removed, the lack of turnover in key spaces have become a growing frustration for businesses. Many are concerned that without action, it could jeopardize their ability to serve customers effectively. We believe that introducing a small number of short-term parking spaces will help strike a balance, keeping downtown convenient and accessible while supporting the long-term success of our businesses. Thank you.
Before you go, may I ask a question? Are you?
Yes, you may.
Is your downtown group certified and accredited?
We have received our Academy accreditation. We have not received our state designation as of yet.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Number 2 on the list. Dave?
First off, hey, Ben, I hit all your links, they all worked. Or at least the ones I got, so we're progressing. Over the last few months, we had a summary of where the budgets were for Sandy for this year, this fiscal year, and for DuBois. Sandy's looking real good with a $600,000, and my numbers might not be correct, surplus. Yet, Du Bois, for some reason, seemed to be like about $1 million in the hole, and they were going to borrow from the sewer and water folks, if I'm correct, to help balance the budget and also to go and tap into, I call it our timber resource, during a time period when prices are historically low again, and to make up the budget. My concern is just, you know, we're getting into consolidation. We're going to be moving there in 138 days. Did I get the days right? 138 days. And you guys are talking about starting to prepare the other budget. I think we need to be real concerned about the overspending. And my concern, it just didn't sit right. And I know we're consolidating, but we're going to have a $600,000 surplus off the Sandy residents versus, you know, this fiscal year, we were separated. We still were. And where that monies are going to go. One idea is, if you can do it, put it into a special fund, put it aside, give it to the fire department to utilize. You had that big grandiose plan that I wasn't a big fan of, but there are things that need to be done. If possible, can we do that? It just doesn't sit right, and I'm assuming you're going to have the budget done before the new council moves in. Is that correct? Yeah, so the budget for the consolidated 2026 will already have been done. So I think this is appropriate that I kind of bring this up right now. You think real hard, if there's going to be a surplus, that it's not going to look and be perceived that it's bailing out the Du Bois City past deficit that they had in there. Now, the $500,000, yeah, came off your timberlands, and that might not be in the most appropriate way of doing. I don't know what you're going to do with the sewer and water if you got to pay them back, if it was a loan or whatever. Somebody's got to pay that. Somebody's balancing money back and forth on that. So I don't know if it's possible, so I'm throwing it out. If it's legally possible to take that surplus, put it in a special account. I would love to see the fire department get new apparatus, or, well, part new apparatus for $600,000. But there was a lot in that plan. It was probably a $90 to $100 million plan, grandiose plan, that maybe you can set it aside, and I think maybe it would sit well, look appropriate, that it wasn't then going to bail out, you know, the old city. So, thank you.
I hear a lot of that mindset, like what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. We need to get past it at this point. We're at 137 days to consolidation. We're all in it together at this point. So it's going to be everybody's surplus, and it's going to be everybody's debts. That's what everybody voted for, and that's what we've all been working to get towards January 6th, 2026. So it's just, we just need to stop focusing on that, because it's just not relevant at this point. We can't segregate the funds like that. That's just not going to happen.
Well, I tried to say that, but that's why I said put it in a separate pot.
Yeah, it's going to be this.
It'll be a consolidated fire department, or
Yep.
if there's something else
And
that's more important.
Yeah, it's going to go to.
Do something like that versus the perception.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'm looking at the perception, and that's what I was bringing up. I don't know enough about the legality and budgeting, but the budgeting's going to be done before the new city council moves into a position.
Absolutely. We're going to have a budget. We're going to have a structure that supports that budget. And I just think it would behoove everyone to get on the same team and work in the same direction instead of keep trying to segregate everything into who's what's and what's is whose and this is mine and that's mine. I want to keep it. And it's just not how it's going to work. And that's not what the consolidation is designed for.
Next, Pam August.
I was waiting for somebody to bring this up, but they didn't bring it up, so I need a little assistance here. Last meeting, I believe the mayor brought up a committee, but I don't remember the title of it. It was to make Du Bois prettier.
I'm not sure we have an exact name for it yet.
Okay.
We got to have our first meeting, we'll discuss that.
Oh, you're already having your first
We
meeting?
haven't had one yet, we're going
Okay.
to. We have all 5 members now.
How did that happen? I thought at the last meeting.
I asked for volunteers, I got phone calls.
I was not aware of that.
Yes, right.
Anybody else know that that happened?
No, they
Raise your
don't.
hand.
No, nobody knows but me.
Pardon?
Nobody knows but me yet, because I haven't brought it to you guys yet.
What, you call it a beautification committee.
Yeah, but we're not set on that name
You
yet.
already have one,
Okay.
right? But I think last December you already had one, Pat? I don't know.
Yeah, I have the minutes here, Barry.
Okay.
From December, where we discussed it.
Sir, we're not going to interrupt this.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was under the impression that it had been tabled till the beginning of the new year because my comment had been something, and I don't have minutes in front of me, to the effect that how can you just say you have volunteers already when the whole community wasn't even aware of it? What I brought tonight was some of the committees and people, groups that have beautified Du Bois. First of all, there's the Down to Earth Garden Club, next followed by the Buds, which stand for Building Up Du Bois and Sandy, and they've been in effect since 2004. Tom Schott, working out of the Historical Society, has put 8 educational panels throughout Du Bois. Can you tell me if any of those things that I just mentioned are one of your little volunteers?
No, none of them volunteered.
But how can
But
you
they're
volunteer for
but-
something that
but
you
they're
don't know is
certainly-
going on?
They're certainly welcome to come to the public meetings and give
I
input.
was at the public meeting last month.
No, I mean the meeting of the committee. They're welcome to come to those.
What other little secret things have you done, may I ask?
It's not a secret thing. I talked about it last December.
Okay, but it was my understanding also then, as related to me by other people in the meeting, that it wasn't agreed upon, and then you brought it up at the last meeting, and I wasn't aware that it was agreed. I thought it was going to be tabled till we had the new city.
It was my understanding we approved it for the city and the city only, not to extend past and through into the new entity.
Yeah, it's only for 3 months or 3 or 4 months, then it ends.
It ends?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then we start all over again?
Yeah, then we get new people.
Okay, I didn't understand it like that. That's why I got the names of the other things. Because I know there's other people that would be very much interested in joining. So they have to call you and say, hey,
They will be-
Mr.
no.
Mayor.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to get it started, and then.
Yeah,
then we
there'll be
can have-
public meetings, and they'll all be invited. I mean, they
Okay.
all won't be invited, but they'll be able to come.
And it'll be like broadcasts in the newspaper or on the radio somehow that we know.
Does that have to be done?
The
Might just
way,
be a
the way
scheduled
that it was discussed was that the mayor would select people, but then bring it for advice and consent of the council. And so at the next at some meeting, whenever you give me names, I
Just
would,
got the last one.
I would then craft a resolution appointing those people. The council would then need to vote on them, and they would need to organize, and yes, they would have 3 months or whatever to,
So technically, it's not a done deal at this point.
the appointments is not a done deal, no.
Well, these guys haven't voted on it.
The council would
No,
vote.
not Sandy.
Right.
Du Bois.
The city
I
council
understand
would
that.
need to advise and give consent to those appointments. And then they would have their organizational meeting and such, which would be a public meeting.
Okay. Well, I'm new to these meetings in that regard, and I misunderstood completely. So yours, I still don't understand whether it's a done deal or not. So I guess the names of these organizations doesn't really come into effect.
Those aren't city organizations, are they?
Tom Schott at the Historical Society, it's the Historical Society of Du Bois,
But
not Sandy Township.
yeah, but the historical society isn't run by the city.
No, it's volunteers.
Right, so
And the
this is a
panels
city,
are
this is a
throughout
city
the
group.
city of Du Bois with approval. There's 8 panels. I don't know if you're aware of those.
Are they done by the city?
Yeah, we install them.
Thank you.
Does the city pay for them?
No, the Historical Society pays for them. I meet with them where they want to install them, we make sure it's in a place where it won't affect any utilities, and we install them.
and it's based on the history of Du Bois.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love those organizations. I think they're vital to the community, but.
Have you looked at any? There's
Yeah,
one
I've
right
lived
in
here.
front of...
I've lived here my whole life. I know what's around the city.
But you
I
haven't
don't
answered my
understand the
question.
opposition to a beautification committee.
Okay, but
And I
have you,
don't,
have you
and no,
looked
it's
at one
not a
of
done
them?
deal. The people haven't been voted on yet. We'll vote on them at the next meeting. It was a public call for people to be on the committee.
I'm
I don't
asking you
understand
a
the problem
question.
with the.
Don't, please don't attorney me. Just simply say yes or no.
What was the question?
Have you ever looked at one of the panels?
Which panels? The ones that are all around the city?
The 8 panels that Tom shot.
I don't know exactly which ones those are.
There's
so-
one right in front of the Historical
Yes,
Society.
I've looked at that one.
Okay,
There's one up at the top of the boulevard.
yep. And there's one, I believe, on the walkway?
I think there's one over at Tannery Dam.
Yeah, there's 8 of
I don't
them.
know if I've seen all of them, but I've seen a lot of them.
And that is part of, I think, the beautification of Du Bois, simply
Absolutely.
by the historical representation.
And they won't be taking over that. He can keep doing that.
Well, I'm sure if he's able, he will. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Again, I still am unclear, but that's my problem.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Before we move on to board member comments, in department reports, these department heads were public, and I didn't ask if they had anything additional to add. Public Works, Scott, did you have anything that you wanted to?
Yeah, we started lowering Juniata Lake for the PennDOT to make the repairs on the culvert crossing. They subbed it out to HRI, so we should have it drained to the level we'll keep it at by the end of this week, first part of next week. Then after Labor Day, HRI is going to come in and start making the repairs underneath. And when they start, we'll put the dam back together so it'll retain as much water as possible while they're underneath there and making their repairs. I mean, that's just probably the biggest thing everybody's going to notice in that area is the lake getting lower.
I noticed when they took one of the boards out yesterday, it made quite the water flow down past
Oh yeah, that
Juniata
flows pretty
Elementary.
good. We pull one board a day, one beam.
Zach, do you have anything you wanted to add?
I do. I just want to give you a quick update on the property at 333 West Long Avenue. Citations were filed on that owner, operator of that business. Everything was returned unclaimed to the magistrate's office, so that triggers a warrant being issued for that operator, which was turned over to the constable out of Clearfield, since that operator does live in Clearfield. So I'm waiting to hear back. I don't know if he has had any luck serving that warrant to him or not. So that's where we're at. The next step should be a hearing date or a sentencing hearing for those charges. So that's the process that we go through, and it's not fun, and it's long and drawn out sometimes.
Thank you. Pat, did you have a question for Scott?
Yeah. Scott, could you report on the waterfall?
Okay, on the waterfall top of the boulevard, the upper half, we've removed all the sandstone, the large stones that were up there. We've emptied out the reservoir. We're waiting for an engineer to come in. He'll be here next Friday, make sure the ground that's there is stable and everything. And the plan is restack the stones, more of a step scenario going up. It will not be a water fountain until, obviously we don't have the funds to do that at this time. It's basically, we're going to try to we'll make it safe and appeasing to the eye when you drive by. So that's where we're at, and we'll be doing it in between other projects.
And the waterfall down below will still be working?
Yeah, waterfall is also running right now. No issues with that one at all. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Chris, did you have anything to add?
Just to let you guys know, both the city and the township, we've been involved in the traffic safety grant for aggressive driving, and we probably close to 100 citations have been issued for aggressive driving in the last month. Being that today's first day of school, our officers are also school bus
Chief Kelsey?
I'm sure everybody's seen the paper. We've completed the merger of the Sandy Township Fire Companies into the fire department as a whole. So now the Du Bois Fire Department now consists of all 9 member host companies from both Du Bois and Sandy. So that's completed. You can check the little green box on the sheet there for that. We're working on our fire chief succession plan for next year, getting that ready to go. And we're also working on the map, since all the lines will be erased from the map as far as wards and separating the city and the township. So we're coming up with a new map and new coverage and new running assignments that will be in effect for next year also. So, all good things.
Thank you.
Chief? How much time does the 911 center need to redraw that in the CAD?
I talked to Kylie Collins, the 911 coordinator over there, about how she wants that information. And she really didn't have a preference. Like we're gonna actually give her the map, and then they'll make the changes in the CAD. They only need about a week's notice to program it all and have it ready, so it'll be good to go.
Are we having any luck with county in bringing all our departments under one call?
No, we haven't readdressed that yet. We are going to take a step here the first week of September around the fire ground operations. We're going to use the Du Bois fire frequency as the default fire ground for everybody, with the exception of one box that's out closer to Penfield. So that'll be the first step, is to get us on a common fire ground. So it'll be less channel changing for everybody. It should make communications a lot smoother and a lot safer. So that'll be the first step.
Chief Runyon?
I have a couple questions, maybe just one question. Act 172 of 2016 and the Amendment Act 91 of 2020, which authorizes municipalities, including townships, boroughs, cities, counties, and school districts, to offer a tax credit to active volunteer firefighters and emergency medical service personnel. Now that is an ordinance that has to happen, and I've been through some of the ordinances and I haven't seen any within Sandy Township or Du Bois City. So is anybody aware of that act and an ordinance for that supports that?
There's not an active act here.
Okay.
Sorry, there's no resolution within either community to adopt that ordinance.
So would the joint board be willing to look further into that and adopt that for the emergency responders? It can be done. I talked to Levi, and DCED does, and it says that we can do that, so they can help us with that as well. So I'm just asking if that's something that the joint board would consider adopting as an ordinance for the new city as we move forward. Now there's a lot of other stuff that has to be involved with it, public hearing and some legal things, but you set parameters and guidelines for those firefighters and emergency responders. Chief, you won't have to do it, neither will I, but the chief will have to work hand in hand and keep a running record of all that. So there's some work to be done, but I'm willing to help out as much as I can with that. So if you're all willing to do that too.
And that's for local taxes, or?
It would be for city property taxes.
Yeah, so it'll be a real estate tax that,
And how much of, would that take off there?
whatever their real estate tax is for that individual that owns that property.
So it would be complete exoneration of their tax?
Yeah, so they'll still pay the tax, and then the municipality will refund the money back to them.
And it's based on, it'd be local income, like an income?
It'll be their real estate tax, local real
real
estate
estate.
tax. Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it doesn't involve that 5.5 income?
What's that?
Their income tax,
No.
for whatever that is, 0.05?
Yeah, no, it's just it's a forgiveness of the real estate tax that, and that's one of the stipulations.
I'm just wondering how much it,
Yeah, that's one of the stipulations is you have to be a homeowner and reside within the city, and whatever real estate tax you pay, the municipality would refund it as long as you met the criteria that's set forth by the joint board or by the new city council and the fire chief.
so how many people, what's your estimate of the firemen that are property owners?
I don't know offhand. I just think it's a really good program, and, Pennsylvania has adopted that since 2016, and we haven't really done anything with
Yeah,
it.
I
So
know
locally, I was hoping that we
The
could,
state's trying to get it so that it's, the state taxes,
Yeah.
which is a good idea. So, yeah, I'd be willing to support that.
super.
If I might, you've already hit on a couple of the snags with it. The first one being that there has to be a property owner. And so a lot of communities that have evaluated implementing such an ordinance have shut it down for at least a couple of reasons that I'm aware of. One is the fact that people that rent don't get the benefit. The other is the potential inequity. You may have two firefighters who are equally, both FF1s, EMTs, whatever, and one is getting hundreds of dollars off of property tax and one $20, And so there's some inequity there, and I think there may be other ways to show appreciation financially for being active volunteers. So I would like to recommend that this be a topic of discussion that you bring up in the fire task force. And let's try to find an equitable way. I know there are other models out there that use this legislation in order to have the municipality show appreciation. By the way, the third problem is usually that members of the home department live in a different municipality. So you already have that problem right now, where you've got people that are members of your, let's say the city of Du Bois Fire Department that live in Sandy Township or Falls Creek or something like that. You wouldn't probably have that problem nearly as much under the new city, right? It's actually one of the pros because for the vast majority of your members are going to be residents of the new city of Du Bois. So anyway, but the first two problems I still think we want to think through. So if it's all right with the joint board, why don't we refer that back to the fire task force, and we'll come up with a recommendation, an official recommendation from the task force to bring to the joint board and get that in motion for the new year.
Thank you, guys. Apologize for missing you earlier in the agenda. Board member comments? Let's start at your agenda, if that's okay.
I think I've said my piece today, but I think we all need to be cognizant of how hard Catherine strategies, the staff at the city are working, and the work that they're doing to move the city forward. And for me, all the unnecessary right to knows is ridiculous. That's it.
I just want to say it's a pleasure to have our guest here. I'm going to try to pronounce your name, but made a great presentation in executive session, and just great to see the job that Lisa and Ben and everybody's doing, the whole team, to move us forward in consolidation. I think we're a lot further along than we thought maybe we would be. There's a lot more involved than what we thought we would be involved in this whole process, and I just want to thank you, as well as congratulations to the baseball team.
Just hope everyone had a great first day of school. Good luck to everybody, all the teachers, staff, parents, kids. Hope everyone has a great year, and please be safe. Watch out for the buses and kids crossing the streets. Traffic's going to be a little crazy these next couple of weeks till everyone gets settled in, so please be careful.
Just really briefly, in regard to the right to know requests, the city will of course respond in accordance to the law, and will process all of them, each one that we receive. There we go. Oh, we can.
Start at the other end. Bill?
I don't have enough more tonight.
Sam?
Yeah, I have a question for the chief of police. I've seen a lot of the e-bikes around lately, and I just want people to be aware of them. And also, are there any regulations on the road for those, or are they just covered like other?
They need to follow the regular laws of the road, bicycles.
Okay, and also, as far as other vehicles, are golf carts allowed on the road? I've seen a few carts on the road. Are they allowed?
They are not. So
They are not? Okay. Well, I know a lot of the different municipalities are allowing them. And lately, I've seen a few driving by.
it's all we will take care of.
I mean,
Your
I'm
golf
not-
cart in your driveway, no?
I'm not gonna complain about them, but I just seen quite a few, so, not quite a few, but a few instances in the last couple of weeks. And just wanted to know for my own benefit. Okay. And I just want to thank Ben and Lisa too for all the good work they've been doing, and also how I've seen the employees working real hard, you know, doing all their tasks for consolidations, and I want to thank them too for not only having to do their regular work, but to do the work toward consolidation also. I want to thank them.
Same here on that. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you as always. Great police presence out today, the first day of school. It was nice, seeing that and being part of that. So thank everybody for that, and fire department for all their hard work as well. That's all I have.
I got two things. One, Sam made a good point about our workers. This hot spell that we went through, I drive around and I look at our workers and they're out there working their butts off in that hot weather. And that's Caduce. And so if you tell your crews of that,
Give them a little water.
Give
them an ice cube.
They get extra water that day.
They have a hydrant.
No, they do a fantastic
Yes, they
job.
do.
I couldn't do my job without them.
Yes. I thought maybe let them jump in tannery when you're opening the gates. But the second thing I'd like to point out is, with the young people that were here tonight, we also have other Little League teams, American Legion, they won their league, baseball, our girls softball teams, the Junior Little League that went into the tournaments, and even the kids that play in all the events. Look, that's our future. And we just got to pat them on the back every chance we get. And the new city we're creating, we're creating that new city for them. And we want them to stay in our new city. And we don't want them scared away, and we don't want people to say, oh my God, this is not a place where I want to live in Du Bois, Pennsylvania. And we understand that there are businesses, Du Bois Logistics, they come out with that thing, it was like heartbreaking. And we have to step up and find a way to either bring businesses in, and I think that should be a goal of the new council, that if things like this arise, that we need to get that on the radar, get out in front of it, and try to do everything in our power to keep them here. So, thank you to the youth of our area. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. We were granted, we got a grant for 20 bare root trees. We'll get them in November. We'll have plans to have them planted. Money's in the budget to get them planted. The trees for free. Mostly they're going in the park, and we had a few that died in the containers because of the rain. They just drowned. Okay, so we'll be replacing some of those. Some of the committees that I'm on is I'm helping out with the home program with Lisa, ordinance and zoning. Dick and I are on that committee, finance committee. Jen, Sam and I are on that committee. So everybody's very busy up here on the council. I did want to talk about the beautification committee. It should not be this hard to do good for the city. It really shouldn't. It's not going to interfere with any other group. We're not going to tell anybody else what to do. They're welcome to come. You're going to be welcome to come all the meetings. It's just to help the city, and it's how it should be. I want to speak about the mayor conference a little bit. Mostly, I mean, I got to meet with mayors. I know I talked to the mayor of Johnstown. In 1980, they had, I think, 60,000 people or 40,000 people. 60,000 people, they have 20,000 now. Imagine that. We think we have, I thought I had it rough. What do you do with all those houses and businesses and everything that closed? They came through it. They came through.
Sorry, Pat.
And talking to some of the other mayors, one of the mayors was locked out of the municipal building for a year by his council. I don't have it so bad, do I? I learned that I had it okay, and our city's like somewhere in the middle, so it was very good. But I concentrated on housing, a lot blight and housing. I talked to everybody about that, and we came up with a few plans to help that out. I did learn that two of the most important things to a city are critical care, and that's our fire, our police, and our EMS. That's the most important thing that could have a good, healthy city. I think we have all that. The second one is beauty. We do not have that. We need to improve on that, not just the downtown, but everywhere, and we have plans to do that. There's a tenant to owner. We have a lot of landlords. I forget the percentage, it's a very high percentage of the houses that are owned by, our rentals. There's a tenant to owner program that we're looking into. But the big thing is, it was nice talking to the mayors about the problems that they have. And there's set answers for them and stuff. But when you sit down and talk to somebody that's been through it, it's a lot different than reading a book or reading code or something like that. So I was very happy that I could go, and I was very proud to be there as a city of Du Bois. So thank you.
I would like to thank our consolidation team led by Ben and Lisa. I stop at all of our facilities numerous times a month, and everyone is working hard. Great job to our Du Bois Little League athletes. It's amazing that our town pulls this off pretty much year after year. And like everyone else has pointed out, watch out for the students returning to school. If no one has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.